Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Assalamu alaikum. I welcome my viewers to the second part of this series of videos that are based upon letter exchange between Muslim smajmal62 and Atheist AronRa. The plea of smajmal62 in his second letter that his act of merging evolution with abiogenesis should not be magnified because these two theories actually describe a continuum of process was not taken into consideration by AronRa. The coming second letter of AronRa didn't contain a reply about information theory explained by smajmal62, but rather it had many questions directed towards smajmal62, presupposing evolution as a fact. YouTuber Faru0485 has read the letter of AronRa.
Letter 2.
When we theists mention evolution, we actually mean emergence of living beings in current form, starting from simple naturally available material on earth, with slow transformation.
Wrong. The word theist includes more than just creationists. It also includes many of the leading minds in evolution science, the people who actually understand what the word evolution, information, abiogenesis actually mean. It also includes the physicist who first conceived the laws of thermodynamics, who was opposed to evolution, but who still admitted that his laws pose no threat to evolution, even if he might wish that it did. Thank you for confirming my suspicion. You cannot argue that thermodynamics poses any threat for evolution unless you create a straw man fallacy by defining evolution, biogenesis, information, and thermodynamics all into things that none of these words actually mean. If your premise is faulty, your conclusion will almost certainly be faulty too. That you won't distinguish abiogenesis from evolution, even when you recognize your error, is telling. But the fact that you don't even understand the transition from single cell to metazoic symbiosis paralyzes your argument even more. As has already been demonstrated multiple times in recent years, information actually can arise without intelligence by a simple supply of energy, given the right environment and sequence of catalysts. This applies even to the spontaneous formation of self-assembling replicated polymers like RNA. I learned a long time ago that you cannot simply tell a creationist something he doesn't want to understand because he has already dismissed it even before he knows what it is. Neither can you show him something he is determined not to see. The trick is to get him to think. The best way to do that is to ask him questions and hold him accountable for the answers, if you can prevent his escape. Part missing, skipping 2. How do you explain the fact that natural selection, sexual selection, and genetic drift have all been proven to have predictive effect in guiding this variant, both in scientific literature and experiment demonstration? How do you explain the fact that specific mutations such as additions, duplications, and transposons do increase genetic information and change it to new information? How do you explain the fact that significant beneficial mutations do occur and are inherited by descendant groups, and that multiple independent set of biological markers exist which trace these lineage backwards over many generations and even join sister taxa with parent clades? How do you explain the fact that birds are a subset of dinosaurs in the same way that humans are a subset of apes, primates, eutherian mammals, and vertebrate deuterostome animals? How do you explain the fact that the collective genome of all animals has been traced to its most basal form through reverse sequencing, and those forms are also indicated by comparative morphology, physiology, and embryological development, as well as through chronological correct placement of successive stages revealed in the geological column? How do you explain the fact that everything on Earth has obvious relatives, either living nearby or evident in fossil records, and that the fossil records hold hundreds of definitely transitional species, even according to the strictest definition of the term? How do you explain the fact that both microevolution and macroevolution have been directly observed and documented dozens of times, both in the lab and naturally controlled conditions in the field, and that these instances have all withstood critical analysis in peer review? Part skip. How do you explain the fact that while of the above comments are verifiable, accurate evidence of biological evolution, you have neither facts nor hypothesis nor evidence of any factual nature to declare for any other postulation you'd care to present?
The assertion of AronRa that evolution and abiogenesis should not be mingled with each other as they are different theories is wrong. Even evolutionists merge the two of them when they are creating a video on evolution. They try to show that life emerged by chemical evolution and proceeded towards complexity through evolution. But when it is forwarded as an evidence in favor of theism, evolutionists take a somersault, saying we theists are ignorant and don't know their definitions. Cell biology is a subject that may direct people towards theism easily. The minute cell functioning so perfectly and transmitting all these processes to next generation through replication naturally show a planning in these processes. To prevent people from getting lost into theism, many evolutionist websites meant for teaching cell biology describe evolution before cell biology. Here I will show you an example of that. This website describes cell biology beautifully. Can we speculate the reason of these videos on evolution in this website? It is to brainwash the students and prevent them from imagining God as planner of cell.
I am just a rock, and every day I sit and watch the sky. I sleep here in the sun and rain, and do not question why. I don't want to be a bird, 'cause us rocks were never meant to fly. But you can sit and rest on me when you pass by. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, I'm a rock, and that is all Allah asks of me. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim, and there's nothing else I'd rather be. I am just a tree, and this is the only life I'll ever know. I bow my bows and worship whenever I feel the wind blow. And my purpose in life is to grow, and Allah says grow, and be a home for the birds and shade for folks below. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, I'm a tree, and that is all Allah asks of me. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. And there's nothing else I'd rather be. I'm just a person and my life is full of opportunity. I can travel through the world, over land and over sea. But will I choose the path of truth or a path to misguide me? Sometimes I wish I had a simple life, just like a rock or a tree. But Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, I'm a person. And Allah has given me a choice that's free. So Alhamdulillah, I choose to be a Muslim. And there's nothing else I'd rather be. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, I'm a person. And Allah has given me a choice that's free. So Alhamdulillah, I choose to be a Muslim. And there's nothing else I'd rather be. No, there's nothing else I'd rather be.
These were a few quotes by people who passed their life studying evolution. Sufficient for an evidence that evolution by way of natural selection is not accepted as a universal scientific fact by all scientists. AronRa twisted the facts about theory of evolution in whole of his letter. He tried to show that smajmal62 was ignorant about definitions of abiogenesis and information theory, and evolution has no relation with them to be discussed with them, but is a separate theory. He also said that thermodynamics does not pose any threat to evolution, and this is agreed by all scientists. The fact is that in whole of science, this is one theory which can never be proven and can never become a fact. But it survives on the basis that there is no alternative explanation of life's origin and change that can be accepted by science. Creation or designing are the words unacceptable to science. Even if every evidence will point to designing, science will not accept it. Let us see what will be the status of Muslims if the theory of evolution becomes a scientific fact.
Firstly, please note that I do believe in evolution, but not in Darwinian evolution. Evolution is something else, and the mode through which it has taken place is something else. The struggle for existence and the survival of the fittest and natural selection, and that automatically changes one species to another, this is wrong. At every change of species, we need another kun from God.
There are many Muslim scholars who have expressed their views that if evolution becomes a scientific fact, some verses of the Quran can be re-explained to accommodate it to Islam. This is possible with Quran because Quran contains two types of verses, muhkamat or fundamental verses, and mutashabihat or allegorical or unclear verses. The first types of verses are clear commands and have no scope of reinterpretation. The second type of verses are the ones which relate to life hereafter and description of creation. The wordings of these second type of verses have pluralistic meanings and can be reinterpreted. However, their view of accepting evolution is based upon their conviction of the theory. Natural selection and change of one species to another is not a scientific fact. Atheists utter the statement evolution is a fact to mislead people into atheism.
اللهم صل على محمد يا رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.